they don't talk about how they are actually selling patients on abortion. That's the whole purpose of Planned Parenthood being in our public school system. It's not to provide, it's not really to provide sex education to our kids. The purpose of them being in the public school system and in some private school systems is so that they can develop a relationship with your child starting in kindergarten. When your child gets old enough and they start going through puberty and they start having questions about sex, the educators are there to say, and I know they say this because I was an educator and I said this, you can't go to your parents about how you're feeling right now. They won't understand.
Oh my gosh.
They don't know what you're going through. But you can come to me because I've known you since you were 5. I've known you since you were in kindergarten. You can trust me. And then the goal is we get these girls into our clinics. And by the time they're 11, 12, 13 years old, we have them on a birth control method. Like I said, I'm 38. If you told me, Abby, you have to take a pill at the same time every day within 2 hours in order for this thing to be effective, I would fail. Okay. So if you're asking a 12-year-old to do that, she is, of course, you're setting her up for failure. But that's the point. They're putting her on a method that has a high human error rate, and they know that. Planned Parenthood's own statistics state that 54% of women who have abortions were using contraception at the time they got pregnant. That's the whole point. Put them on a method that has a high human error rate. These girls will fail. Hopefully, before they graduate high school, they will be into our clinics for their first abortion. And by the way, they don't have to tell their parents that they're having an abortion. So, we have all of these laws in place, parental consent, parental notification, which are all good laws. But the Supreme Court ruled that anytime you have parental involvement regarding a minor's abortion decision, that you have to have something called judicial bypass. So, here in Texas, for instance, there's an organization called Jane's Due Process. All they do, they're a nonprofit group, all they do is connect girls to judges who will rubber stamp their application for them to be able to get an abortion without their parents' consent. And then by the time they get to college, which, again, they have the abortion, we send them out with yet another pack of birth control pills that we know will eventually fail them, or they will fail taking the pill. And by the time they're in college, they'll come back for their second abortion. If we're lucky, by the time this woman is 30, she will have had 3 abortions.
Were there meetings? Do you talk like this in those meetings? If we're lucky, they'll have 3 abortions?
Sure. Yeah. That's their revenue generating model. We were taught to turn every client visit into a revenue generating visit. The only way you can do that, and this was very clearly expressed in management meetings, the only way you can do that is to sell this woman on an abortion if she's pregnant, because Planned Parenthood doesn't provide prenatal care. We can't help her if she wants to continue her pregnancy. It's not like we get kickbacks off of adoption. So if she comes in and she's pregnant, it is our job to sell her an abortion, and they train us then on how to sell that abortion to her.
This makes it sound like, that is not the image of Planned Parenthood. The image is we are just here to provide all kinds of services, and that just happens to be one. And if somebody comes in and needs it, you're describing a scene that is much more like, like a car salesman. What do I need to do to get you into this abortion today? Let me go talk to the manager kind of stuff.
That's exactly how it is. So we had trainings on how to overcome objections, so particularly religious objections.
Like what?
So women would come in, about 60% of women who have abortions identify as Christian. So many of the women who would come in would say, I just don't know if God can forgive me if I do this. I don't know if this is a sin. That was a very common thing that we heard. So we were trained then through scripts to talk to them, talk through that objection. So we would say to them, well, but don't you believe in a forgiving God? Don't you believe that God understands your circumstances right now? He knows everything about you. And he understands that you're not in a position right now to be a mother. So it's this idea of presumptive forgiveness that we are pushing on these religious women who are coming in to have abortions. I mean, we had scripts for everything. If a woman came in and let's say we did her ultrasound and we're going to charge her $150 for that ultrasound. And then she's like, well, I don't know, maybe. Then we would say to her, well, if you go ahead and schedule your abortion appointment today, I'm authorized to take that $150 off of the cost of your abortion, but you have to schedule the appointment today. Is there any reason we shouldn't just go ahead and get that scheduled? I mean, you are literally taught how to overcome the objections that women coming in might have for you.